So MX, Migration Accelerator, and there are different flavours. I'll talk to you about datacentre. So really, what we've done is to take our expertise in doing migrations. And as you go through a migration, so you initiate the project, and then you assess. You have to understand. So if we take a data center migration just as an example, the first thing you need to do is to understand what it is you have. And most organizations will have a CMDB, a database of their different assets. Generally, we found that they don't just have one, they'll have multiple sources of information. Marrying those sources together, realizing there are gaps, mapping what the physical assets are to the business applications and processes is a huge part of the challenge. So within MX, we've built a system that enables you to pull all of your different asset information together to paint a picture for you. But one of the key things it does is it shows you where you may have the same piece of kit in database A says it's over here, and database B will tell you something different. So it shows you where you need to focus your attention and come to a golden source of information. So having established what it is that you have, you then need to build up, well, okay, so what is my journey going to be? I might be taking some servers or some services into another data center I have, I might be taking some to the cloud. And we can build rules around that because we know how to do those things. We know the activities involved, we know the resources involved and the costs and the time. And we can build rules. And we can build rules that say that if it's it might be a business critical application that the organization doesn't want to put out for security reasons, or it might be that it's a development environment and you really just need the lowest cost of computing power. And we can build rules up that you can then apply to your environment. And one of the big challenges when you're doing a migration is understanding what you have and then actually defining where you need to get to. And in defining where you need to get to, you need to understand how long it's going to take, how much that's going to cost, what resources you need and when. And probably, I have been involved in numerous migrations. And you do all of this work. Today it's done by a bunch of architects and technicians, and they build up pictures and they build up spreadsheets. And then they go to the OpCo or the steering group and they present, here's how long it's going to take and here how much, etc. and here are the risks. And I've never seen one go through without the question, I'd like to do it a little differently. I'd like to do it faster, or I'd like to move those applications first. So within MX, what we've built is the capability to actually, we'll just change the rules. And these are rules that can be defined by the client. We can help them define them. And that will immediately show you the impact on time, on cost, on resources, on risk, because we build a risk profile based on what we know about these assets. So then when we determine, so everyone's in agreement and we've been able to apply rules, and of course rules won't hit everything, but you're spending your expensive resources time on the 10 to 20% that's really tough. Then you define your 2B. Then out of what MX then produces is it produces all of the kind of project collateral. So kind of from a governance perspective, all the status reporting, the project plans, and it manages the workflow. So individuals will log into MX, they'll find out what they should be doing when, they'll report progress against it. So it really drives the migration. All the way through to having completed migrations, you'll have defined rules about what happens with this hardware. Do I decommission it? It will drive the workflow for decommissioning. It'll produce the decommission reports. It'll tell you to move this server to that location at this time. So it's systemizing a process. And because it's systemized, because we've got the experience that we've got, because we're applying rules, it means it just happens, well, we estimate that it's going to be a third faster, but probably more than the time. I can't think of many migrations that I've either had visibility of or purview into that have gone on time. Gartner will probably tell you that 70% will go over budget, over time. A significant number of those will fail. And probably many migrations just don't even start because of the fear factor. So we try and take the fear factor out. We try and make it actually that you can base all of this on information. And then what we provide is a lens into that for the executive team. So, a little bit like Xceed from an Xceed perspective. At any time, somebody can look in and say, well, okay, because I'm not asking for a status report at the end of the week, I'm seeing the progress in real time. How much money have I spent? What resources are deployed? Where are we on the project plan? Are we behind? And the picture automatically gets updated as you go through. So from a steering committee, from an exec perspective, he can jump onto his iPad or his mobile device, whatever flavour, and see where we're at. Kind of what is the heartbeat on this thing? Where is the RAG status today? Where is it actually at 1 o'clock today? Where is it at 5 o'clock today? So really, it's about kind of taking the mystery out of it, de-risking it, providing transparency, but also providing just some of those fundamental things that are actually common to all migrations. There's a lot of new technology, etc., but there's a lot of good practice. We're not reinventing the wheel here. I suppose, again, what I've observed is that many organisations, most organisations will not have had IT staff that have done significant migrations, although I think they were going to become a more common feature going forward. So they'll bring in organisations like Xceed, but many others to help them. And certainly when I was sitting in the kind of running IT seat, I got the sense that everyone was starting from scratch every time I brought somebody in. They talk about a methodology, but I wouldn't see one applied. And I just got this sense that they were learning on my time, was actually MX is about benefiting from our learning.